Hi guys, it's Just Modest Fiction and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my April TBR. Alright guys, so my April TBR is mostly comprised of fantasy romance and then contemporary romance and a lot of dark contemporary romance. And then I also have a couple YA fantasy thrown in there. Now, like all my other TBR videos, I am going to sort this by genre. Now, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish videos. You can also check out my Instagram and Goodreads, both linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the books I want to read in April. Alright, so starting off with YA fantasy, like I said, I only have two for this genre. First up is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. So this is actually the Fairy Loot edition. And to be honest, I wasn't planning on reading this book in April. However, I got this edition and it is just so stunning. I'm obsessed with it. I think it might be one of my prettiest books. So this is following a girl whose village is being ravaged by these horrible storms, and the people believe that if they sacrifice one of the most beautiful girls of the village, that the storms will stop. Well, it turns out the girl they're sacrificing is our main character's brother's fiance. So in order to save her and her brother, our main character ends up going to the spirit world to try to figure out a way to stop these storms. And it just sounds so awesome. Apparently it's based on a Korean fairy tale, and I am just so excited to jump into this. Great, and next up we have Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. So I actually plan on buddy reading this with Isa from Fun Fantasy Books. I will have her channel linked down below. I don't know very much about this. I believe it's about a haunted or gothic magical hotel, but I saw that it was recommended for people who are a fan of House of Salt and Sorrow, which was a YA gothic tale that I absolutely love. I think it's based on the 12 Dancing Princesses, and it also kind of gave me Caraval vibes. So I'm super excited to jump into this, and it should be a really fun time. All right, moving into fantasy romance. First up, we have The High Mountain Court by A.K. Mulford. So I don't know very much about this. I believe this is following a witch who ends up being taken prisoner by a fae who needs the witch's powers in order to regain control of his territory. So, like I said, don't know very much about it. However, I am following the author on TikTok. She seems to have a really fun personality, and this book is slowly gaining more and more popularity, and I just saw that the audio version came out. So I will definitely be picking this up in April, and I'm very excited to jump into it. All right, next up is a book that has been on multiple TBRs, but I'm finally going to read it in April, and that is Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller. This is a Dark Hades and Persephone retelling. So I was going to jump into this last month, however, it was getting a lot of negative reviews, and that made me a little nervous. But the audiobook version just came out in March, so now I'm going to listen to it via audio. I've just realized I've had a lot more luck with finishing books via audio than reading them physically. So I'm excited and nervous to jump into this. I really hope it lives up to my expectations. All right, and last up for fantasy romance, we have The Unseelie Prince by Kathryn and Kingsley. So I've been wanting to read this for a while. However, the cover was kind of putting me off. I don't know. It's a very interesting cover. But apparently this is following a fae that wants to become, he's the prince, he wants to become the king, but in order to do that, there's a tradition that he has to steal a human. So we're following this slow burn dark fantasy story, and it sounds like it could be really fun. I've heard very mixed reviews on this. Some people really loved it, some people really didn't like it, and I'm just very intrigued. So I will definitely be reading this in April. It seems like a pretty short read, and I really hope I enjoy it. All right, so moving into dark romance, there are a lot on this list. I recently rediscovered dark romance, and I'm just obsessed. I've been binging all the dark romance I can, so look forward to a lot of dark romance videos. I will still be reading tons of fantasy romance, so don't worry about that. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of dark romance recommendations on here. Now, I recently read almost everything by Giana Darling, including her Fallen Men series, and the next book in this MC Fallen series is Caution to the Wind. It's gonna come out at the end of April. I am so excited. I believe this one is following Axeman. I don't really remember very much about his character, and I actually just filmed an entire Fallen Men series reading order and review, completely spoiler-free. If you guys want to check that out, it should drop the Thursday after this video. But anyway, I'm so excited to read Caution to the Wind. Anything Giana Darling writes, I will read. And next up is a book I keep seeing all over TikTok, and I'm so excited to jump into, and that is Praise, and this is by Sara Cate. So apparently this is age gap, and it's ex-boyfriend's father, and it has a whole BDSM subplot. I cannot wait to read this. Like I said, this is getting so much hype on TikTok, and apparently it's just really, really good. So this will be one of the first books I read in April. I actually wanted to read it in the last week of March, and I didn't get to it. But this will definitely be read, and I am so excited to jump into it. And next up, we have another motorcycle club romance, and that is It Ain't Me Babe by Tillie Cole. So this is going to be my first Tillie Cole book. Apparently, this is very dark, very gritty. It is following two characters, one of them being River, who is, I believe he's mute, and he's been raised, his parents were in this motorcycle club, so that's really all he knows. And then we're following a girl, Salome, who was raised in this cult, and I believe she escapes the cult and ends up going to this motorcycle club. But once again, I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews. Apparently this is very, very dark. I feel like I'm used to Giana Darling's kind of glorified and romanticized MC universe, so I don't know how I'm gonna like this one. But either way, super excited to jump into this, and it should be a really good time. And next up, we have another book that has been on multiple TBRs, but I'm going to read it this month, and that is Scarred by Emily Mcintire. This is the same author who also wrote Hooked, which I loved. It was a Peter Pan retelling where Hook is trying to get revenge on Pan, and he uses Wendy in order to do so. So this is, I believe, a Lion King retelling, but it's going to be, so it's essentially Hamlet. So we're following two brothers, and I think one of them ends up kidnapping the wife of the other brother. It's going to be awesome. If it's anywhere near as good as Hook was, I'm going to absolutely love it. Similar to the other books I've mentioned, the audio for this just came out, or is about to come out in April. So I'll be listening to this via audio, and I cannot wait. It should be really, really good. All right, and last up for dark romance, we have Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. So this is not only religious, spicy time, but it is also student-teacher trope. So apparently this is Father Falk, who is the head teacher in this Catholic school, and he ends up having a relationship with a student. So if you are familiar with my channel, you saw in, I believe, my February wrap-up where I read Priest by Sara Simone, and I absolutely hated it. The entire time I was reading it, I was just thinking about my very Catholic grandmother who is in heaven right now and completely shaming me for reading that. So I'm a little nervous to jump into this. However, I have loved everything I've read by Pam Godwin. She is one of my favorite authors, and if she can make me fall in love with this book, then just more power to her. I'm excited and nervous to jump into this, but once again, I have a lot of faith in Pam Godwin. So I really hope I enjoy it, but we will see. And last up for contemporary romance, I want to read a duet. So there's The Confidence of Wildflowers, which is the first book. It's already been released, and it is following our main character. It's age gap, and she ends up nannying for her neighbor that she has a crush on, and I'm so looking forward to this. Apparently, it's also a second chance romance, and I figured if I really enjoyed the first one, I'd want to read the second one, The Resurrection of Wildflowers, when it's released later in April. I don't know anything about the second one, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about this first book, so super excited to jump into both of them. Alright guys, those are all the books I plan on reading in April. Please let me know down below if you have read any of these books, which ones are your favorite. I said this already, but I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week. Bye!